you ever seen a movie where the characters are too stupid to survive, and yet somehow they do? The type of characters that make you yell at the screen because of the dumb choices that they make. Horror films have always depended on the characters making bad choices, but not like in this film. It was so hard to get invested in the story because everything they did left me asking, why would you do that? There's a good movie lost somewhere inside of this, but I think the filmmaker made a few crucial mistakes that ruined any opportunity for real tension. Showing the family walk into town and go through their daily routines removes the fear that this story is trying to create. They obviously know how to survive without making any noise, and the aliens don't seem to be interested in them as long as they stay quiet. It would have worked much better if they were afraid to enter the woods and couldn't leave the farm. But from the very beginning, we see that the family is their own worst enemy, and there's no real limitations to what they can do. Imagine the kid in the beginning died because he ran into the woods and we only vaguely see an alien shape drag him away. That would force our imaginations to try and piece together what was going on. But no, the movie shows us the aliens 5 minutes in, and it also shows us that there's no real danger or anything stopping the family from just walking out and finding help. The story could have been more intimate and isolated, a family trapped on a farm with monsters lurking in the woods, but making it a global alien invasion turned it into more science fiction. I applaud this movie for attempting to tell a story with minimal dialogue, but the finished product is a perfect example of style over substance, and in the end, the lack of dialogue comes across as more of a gimmick, because the logic of the story was sacrificed to accommodate it. The movie is well made. The cinematography, sound, effects, and acting are all really good. I only wish they spent more time revising the script and developing more realistic conflicts. Now I know, this is supposed to be a fictional story, but I'm supposed to watch these characters and relate to them. I'm supposed to put myself in their shoes, so when they're in danger, I feel afraid. I'm supposed to like these characters and want them to survive, but they're too stupid to be the people that would actually survive this situation, and the aliens are too stupid to have killed everyone on the planet. Everyone in this world is stupid. The most obvious flaw in this movie is that everyone in this world would have to go out of their way to die by these aliens. And for this, I wanted to ask you a question. If you heard this in another part of your house right now, what would you do? It's a basic response that we all have. We hear something that's unknown and we freeze. We hide. We remain quiet. All animals do this. So why did no one in this world respond this way? There was time to print and distribute newspapers, and it was public knowledge that they hunted by sound. Lots of people should know this information, and yet nobody uses it. The entire world was wiped out because people couldn't shut their mouths? I've seen a lot of movies where the characters do stupid things, but this is gold medal stupidity. They actually made the single worst decision by any character in any film ever, and for this crowning achievement of stupidity, I made a short list of the quietest things that I can think of. Number 5. Hibernating bear. Number 4. Cat walking on a mattress. Number 3. A ninja eating cotton candy. Number 2. A ghost in a cemetery. And number 1.
A fucking baby.
No! No! No!
The parents actually decided that having a baby was a good idea, in a world where aliens with hypersensitive hearing instantly kill anything that makes a sound. What was the plan? They put the baby in a box with an oxygen mask. Do they plan to do this every day until the baby's too big for the box? Were they really expecting to raise a kid that had never made any noise? I know that these are fictional characters, but how am I supposed to relate to this? And how would these people have survived this long if they made decisions like this? More stupidity. Why did the dad leave his pregnant wife alone so late in her pregnancy? I would think that having a baby alone would be pretty difficult. And noisy. Why hasn't the mom been living in the soundproof room ready to give birth? She was visibly far enough along for the baby to come at any time, and they knew she was 8.5 months pregnant. Why haven't they made more rooms soundproof like the basement and the barn? And if having a baby wasn't stupid enough, they had never even tested to see if the basement with the mattress door would even work. They had time to make a sand trail and time to play board games, but never thought to test if their soundproof room was actually soundproof. Why does this family act like nothing outside of their farm exists?
Every single person that you or I has ever known is dead!
Every friend and family member, co-worker and celebrity, every person that they've ever seen or met is probably
Dead!
They aren't behaving like survivors of a global extermination. Did they all just forget that aliens killed nearly everyone on the planet and are currently in the woods right outside of their house? Maybe the script forgot. Or maybe there would be no movie if anyone behaved like a normal person would in this situation. They waste time and energy. Why don't they just live in the town? The town is full of empty houses and stores with food, medicine, and supplies. There's more buildings, mattresses, and materials to muffle sound, and more places to hide. What's the benefit of living on the farm? Why did they pour a long sand trail when they could have just worn socks? Think about the effort and logistics of that task. Let's just say that a single 50-pound sandbag can make a 50-foot long trail. They would have to carry each bag, one by one, out to the end of the trail, and then walk back to fill up another bag, and do this for miles. And they did this all in the first 89 days, without making any noise. Why not just wear socks? Oh, and where did they get all of this white sand from? On a corn farm, surrounded by miles of forest. These details might look cool on screen, but they don't make any practical sense when you give them any thought. It makes the characters look stupid. Yes, sand might make your steps quieter, but someone had to make this trail. Was it really worth the risk of being killed? Was walking barefoot on the ground that noisy? Hearing aid. Why is the daughter so worried about her hearing aid? Why does she want to hear so badly, in a world where no one can talk or make noise anyway? I know why the script cares. Because her hearing aid is using a frequency that nothing else in the world is using, and it happens to be something that hurts the aliens. Imagine the odds. But the reason for her wanting to hear in a silent world still makes no sense and would be a waste of time. It'd be like looking for a pair of sunglasses in a world where the sun stopped burning. Global takeover. If there's one thing that humans have always been good at, it's killing things. So I decided to make a realistic version of this movie. A movie that reflects what would really happen if these aliens actually did land on Earth. As I mentioned in the beginning, everyone in this world would have to go out of their way to die in this scenario, and making it a global invasion opens up so many questions about the outside world. Did these aliens strategically land on every island like Japan, Australia, UK, and Hawaii? All these places have active militaries and large populations. The movie tells us that constant noise like a rushing river acts as a safe zone. So wouldn't every person near a beach or a major river in the world be safe? Wouldn't someone notice that noisy places are free of noise-hunting aliens? There are hundreds of active US Navy ships and submarines, not to mention all of the other countries with active ships. There must be tens of thousands of US military soldiers at sea around the world. How is civilization destroyed? I'm sure the aliens can swim, but shouldn't the ocean offer a natural safe zone like the river does? If you can't explain the details of the outside world, then maybe you shouldn't have introduced the ideas into your film. I'm not making these things up. The movie tells us these things, and then forgets that they told us 5 minutes later. Sound is a survival tool. The dad tells us that constant noise, like a river or a waterfall, acts as a natural safe zone. So why don't they use this on their farm? Set up speakers and play a song on loop, so you don't have to tiptoe around your house, or just find a place to live that's near the river. The aliens seem to attack with great accuracy, so if you made a noise and moved 3 steps to the right, wouldn't they attack the old spot that you were standing in before? Wouldn't throwing something in the bushes distract them and give them a new target? The mom seems to understand this, and yet they never use this as a proactive survival tool. In the first 10 minutes of the movie, I'd already thought up several traps that would hurt or kill these aliens. Escape and finding help. They've been on this farm alone for 472 days. That's 1 year, 3 months, 2 weeks, and 1 day. That's a long time. Why haven't they tried to physically walk out of the woods and find help or a more secure living space? They have an empty town full of supplies within walking distance, and their farm offers no added security or benefit. Why did the dad spend over a year sending out radio signals looking for help? Why would he assume anyone would risk using a radio? After a year of sending out signals, why not use your time on things that might actually help your family? It's not like they're trapped. They leave the farm several times with no problem. And I'm guessing the internet isn't a thing in this world because I think everyone would be using that to communicate. Stupid aliens for stupid people. The people in this movie are world-class stupid, but the aliens aren't much smarter or better developed. Aren't these things supposed to be bullet and injury-proof? If the US and global militaries and the millions of gun-loving Americans couldn't take these things down, I doubt a woman who just had a baby with a shotgun could kill one of— Never mind, a shotgun to the face worked. Maybe no one else tried that. But I'm guessing it wasn't just the shotgun, it was the unique hearing aid frequency that nothing else in the world gave off that hurt the aliens. So no one thought to try and use sound as a weapon against creatures with super sensitive hearing? No one noticed that they open their faces so they can use their hearing at 100% power? Guess not. Didn't we see the alien run away from Reagan's hearing aid last time? Why wouldn't it leave the basement in a hurry if it was being hurt? It literally did exactly that a few minutes ago. Why do these aliens' hearing abilities change depending on the situation? When the mom drops the glass in the basement, an alien can hear it. Assuming it's nearby in the woods, and why wouldn't it be? The sound has to travel out of the basement, out of the house, across a field, and into the forest. Sound is just vibration, so something has to be pretty damn loud to be heard in a basement from outside of a house and 100 meters away. They can hear that, but can't hear a baby in a basement with a mattress door. I know we aren't supposed to question every detail like this, but I've always found end-of-the-world movies to be a fantasy fulfillment. I get the chance to dream up how I would survive in these situations. But from the very first moment I saw these aliens and I learned what they were, my mind started playing with ideas on how to survive, and strangely, not a single thing that this family did was something that I thought a real person would do in real life. Logic and reason don't apply because the movie wouldn't happen if anyone in this entire world actually used their brain. There were a few things that I skipped over because I thought they were too insignificant to address, but I'll add them here anyway. And I admit these are nitpicks, but these are just a perfect example of the filmmaker's lack of attention to detail. Newspapers. Where did they get all these newspapers from? I know these were used as exposition without using the usual compilation of TV news clips, but why the hell does this small town have so many different newspapers? Printing newspapers makes a lot of noise. Plus, who delivered these newspapers to this small town? If the newspapers are printing stories about the aliens hunting by sound and printing stories about the US military being destroyed by them, what delivery driver was dedicated enough to drive out to a small town to deliver these newspapers while noise-hunting aliens were killing everyone? Last time I checked, trucks do make noise, right? The quicksand silo scene was supposed to be tense, but it opened up a bigger question for me. How did they plan and maintain this large field of corn with no machines or horse plows? And how did they manage to harvest the corn, remove the husks and the kernels, and fill up a 50-foot grain silo without making any noise? Corn is probably the noisiest crop you can plant. Walking through it makes noise, and the entire harvesting process is very noisy. Pouring dry kernels into a massive silo is noisy. How did they manage to do this? This shot here isn't so much a stupid character choice, but a stupid director's choice. Well, one and the same really, but take a look at this scene. I'm sure they thought it would look cool, but it doesn't make any sense. Why is he holding a shotgun under the covers? Maybe the editor should have cut this differently, or left it out of the film entirely. The nail. I don't think I've ever seen a more blatant plot device than the nail in the stairs. Why was the nail hammered upward in the first place? We clearly see that the floor has paint marks, put there to show spots to step on without the floor making any noise. We see these same marks on the stairs and even one right on top of the actual nail. That means that the family had been stepping on that spot for over a year, barefoot, and no one felt or saw the nail. Why did the mom pull the bag once she felt it caught on something? And why didn't she look to see what the bag had got snagged on once she pulled it free? No one would do this, because no one would risk ripping their bag. And have any of you ever tried to straighten a bent nail? It's not this easy. Lights. Why do they only use red lights to signal danger when an audible sound would be more effective for the 3 people that can hear? Noise coming from a speaker would attract the alien to the speaker and away from the people. Plus, it would mask any noise that they made when running for safety and distract the aliens away from the hiding spots or the main house. I get that the daughter is deaf, so they want her to be able to see the alarm too, But you wouldn't blindfold an entire family because one person is blind. They could use both lights and sound, and it would actually make them safer.